Hi and welcome to this tutorial about Simutrans. Today we take a look on different type of crossing, good side and bad side, and the rest of the menu. We cannot talk about signal in Simutrans if we don't talk crossing. There is two main type of crossing. Crossing with overpass or bridges like this, and crossing without bridges like this. This type of crossing take up a lot of space. This is actually a small crossing which only allow traffic in one direction, out from the station to the main line. This is more simple, take off traffic from the main line. But this type of crossing with bridges take up a lot of space. This type of crossing take up very little space and allow two main lines to cross in an X crossing. But they have one major disadvantage. If you don't use two block signal like this, you can have deadlock in your system. This type of crossing with bridges can theoretically have deadlock, but only if you design your system improperly. That means not having enough space for train to queue up so they stop out on the main line and thereby stopping necessary traffic, or not having enough track in the station. If you want to avoid deadlock in this type of crossing, you need to use two block signal. But it is a price to pay for deadlock free crossing. Two block signal like this, you see this signal is green if you have enough resolution and enough big screen. So the top signal is green, but the bottom signal is yellow. That means that the crossing is free, but not the box after the crossing. And it is how this signal operate which lower the capacity of the crossing, and that is the price you pay for the deadlock free. So if you now start rolling this time, we see this train waited and will wait until this box is empty. And allocate the track after that traffic light into the box. That means that you utilize the main line poorly. That is not a big problem just now because we have relatively little traffic. But when the traffic increase, this crossing can be a huge bottleneck in the system. So I normally build this type of crossing when I have little space. What I prefer to do when I have main line is to use crossing with bridges that have higher capacity. There is two types of crossing here, T crossing and X crossing. And this is how you build them. We now have here a T crossing, so train coming on this main line will be able to enter the other main line like this, and the same from the other main line. And of course they can drive this way too. So train from all directions can switch to a new main line. That is how you build a T crossing. Because I now have a lot of space, I will simply remove this crossing and replace it with a more efficient crossing this crossing is ready for more heavy traffic in the future. I have now designed a new crossing here. That means that this depot is no longer placed in a suitable position. So I remove the depot. The new depot I will place up here, because placing depot close to the overpass is a good strategy. But now the system missing one link. There is no simple way for the train to switch direction. So we need a new overpass, but I build that under this embankment instead of using a bridge. Now can train coming from the depot drive down here, go under the main line, up here and into the station if I want to add more new train or switch to new, more efficient train in the future. We should now take a look on the X crossing when two main lines cross with each other. This is how you build an X crossing when two main lines cross each other and should be able to switch train between them, using bridges and side track here. Notice that this side track don't have any signal. That is to allow traffic in both directions. So this type of crossing have two different versions, with and without signal. Why I use this solution is to use less space, but I can only switch one train on this piece of track, which lowered the capacity of this crossing slightly. If I want to be able to switch two trains at the same time, I need more track. I have now upgraded this X crossing to the most efficient one, which allows switching of two trains at the same time. So now can one train drive this way and another train drive down this way at the same time. Notice the size difference between this crossing and this crossing, which use traffic lights to handle the traffic in the crossing. This crossing is less efficient but take up less space. This crossing take up a lot of space but are very efficient. The choice is yours. Let us now take a look on the rest of the menu for train. This is different type of railways, different type of bridges, two type of tunnels, removing electric line, a group of signal. Depot have a take a look on, but there is different type of station. Here is two different look on the station, asphalt and concrete. This is station for cargo. This is station for passenger. Notice that mail are counted as cargo, but need a special building. You can build station which handle both cargo and passenger. That means that you need at least one piece of cargo station. This is building which increase the capacity of the station. Railway building, for example, hotel and so on. That was everything I have to show you for this time. Thanks for watching and have a nice day. In the next episode we should learn how to drive train in a circle in a roundabout. We also take a look on how to handle multiple station on single track and more about deadlock and why they are so tricky.